You have been told a lie about your own mind. Since you were a child, society, religion, and perhaps even your own family have taught you that sexual desire is a biological itch. They told you it is a simple instinct, a physical hunger, or in some cases, a shameful weakness that must be hidden away in the dark. We are taught that we desire people because they are beautiful or charming, or because the chemistry is simply right. But Carl Jung, one of the most profound psychologists in history, disagreed. He believed that this view of desire was not only wrong, but dangerously superficial. In the depths of Jungian psychology, sexual desire is not an enemy to be conquered, nor is it a random biological accident. It is a messenger. It is a compass. It is a voice from the deepest, most silenced part of your unconscious, screaming to be heard. The uncomfortable truth you must face today is this: you do not choose who you desire. Your unconscious chooses for you, and it does not choose based on who will make you happy, or who will be a safe partner, or who fits the logical checklist you have written in your head. Your unconscious chooses the person who holds the key to the parts of yourself that you have locked away. You do not desire them. You desire the version of yourself that they awaken. To understand this, we must look at the concept of the shadow. Jung taught that, as we grow up, we curate a personality. We learn what is acceptable to our parents and our society. We learn to be polite, to be strong, to be agreeable, or to be rational. But human beings are vast. We are not just one thing. So, what happens to the parts of us that didn't fit? What happens to your aggression, your vulnerability, your dominance, your wildness, or your selfishness? You didn't destroy them. You simply buried them. You pushed them into the dark bag of the unconscious that Jung called the shadow. But these traits do not die. They hunger. They wait. And this is where sexual desire enters the stage. Desire is the mechanism through which the shadow tries to return to the light. This is why you often find yourself inexplicably attracted to people who are your complete psychological opposite. Consider the person who has lived their entire life being good. They are responsible, reliable, and perfectly controlled. They never raise their voice. They never break a rule. Suddenly, they find themselves consumed by an overwhelming, irrational lust for someone who is chaotic, dangerous, perhaps even reckless. The logical mind says, "Stay away. This person is bad news." But the soul is magnetized. Why? Because that bad boy or wild woman is holding the missing piece of the good person's soul. The chaotic partner is living out the rebellion that the responsible person repressed 20 years ago. The attraction is not just physical. It is a desperate attempt by the psyche to become whole. The responsible person isn't just wanting to sleep with the rebel. They are wanting to consume the rebellion. They are starving for their own lost freedom. This works in every direction. Think of the powerful CEO, the person who spends every waking hour making difficult decisions, leading others, and maintaining absolute control. In the boardroom, they are a predator. But in the bedroom, they may harbor a deep, burning fantasy of total surrender. They may crave being tied down, silenced, or dominated. To the uneducated mind, this looks like a contradiction. But through the lens of Jung, it is perfect balance. The psyche is exhausted from the weight of constant responsibility. The desire to submit is not a desire for pain. It is a desire for rest. It is a craving to lay down the heavy burden of the ego and, for a few moments, to be nothing, to decide nothing, to simply exist in the hands of another. The desire balances the life. This is why Jung said that if you want to know who you really are, do not look at your carefully crafted resume. Do not look at how you behave in church or at a dinner party. Look at your fantasies. Look at the things that turn you on when no one is watching. Your sexual fantasies are the most honest mirror you will ever possess. They bypass your ego. They bypass your social filtering. They come straight from the core. And because they are so honest, they are often terrifying. We feel shame because we mistake the symbol for the reality. We think that because we have a dark fantasy, we must be a dark person. But the unconscious speaks in symbols. If you fantasize about danger, it does not necessarily mean you want to be hurt. It often means you are feeling suffocated by safety. Your soul is rotting in a cage of predictability, and your desire is handing you a sledgehammer. If you fantasize about being adored or worshipped, it does not mean you are a narcissist. It may mean that in your daily life, you feel invisible. You feel unseen. Your desire is compensating for a deep, painful void of recognition. Most people run from these truths. We repress the desire. We judge it. We tell ourselves, I shouldn't want that. We try to sanitize our attraction. We date the safe person, the one who looks good on paper, the one our parents would like. And we wonder why the spark isn't there. We wonder why we feel dead inside. We feel dead because we have cut off the connection to the shadow. There is a terrifying intensity that comes when we finally meet someone who activates this shadow material. It feels like fate. It feels like electricity. It feels like you have known them forever. That feeling, that sudden jarring sense of recognition, is what Jung called projection. You are projecting your hidden self onto them. You are seeing your own golden potential wrapping around their body. This is why the beginning of these relationships feels so euphoric. You feel complete, not because of them, but because through them, you are finally touching the lost parts of yourself. However, this is also where the danger lies. And this is the tragedy of modern love. We mistake the carrier of the message for the message itself. We think the magic is in them. We become obsessed with the person. We become addicted to their presence. We think, if I can just possess this person, I will feel this way forever. But the person is just a screen. The movie is playing from inside your own head. If you do not understand this, you will destroy the relationship. You will demand that they continue to be the perfect reflection of your hidden self. And when they inevitably fail, when they show themselves to be just a normal, flawed human being, you will be devastated. You will feel betrayed. The magic will fade, and you will go looking for the next person to project upon. This is the cycle of broken relationships that so many people are trapped in. They are chasing a ghost. They are chasing themselves. So how do we break this cycle? How do we use this Jungian wisdom to actually change our lives? The answer is not to repress the desire, but to integrate it. Integration is the process of taking back the power you have given away. It means realizing that the quality you admire so intensely in that other person actually belongs to you. It is a seed waiting to germinate in your own soil. When you feel that intense, shaking attraction, instead of just blindly chasing the person, pause. Ask yourself the difficult question. What do they have that I believe I lack? If you are obsessed with their confidence, do not just sleep with them to get a taste of it. Build your own confidence. Take risks in your own life. Speak up. If you are drawn to their artistic sensitivity, do not just make them your muse. Pick up the paintbrush yourself. Unlock your own emotions. If you are drawn to their power, Do not just submit to it. Find where your own power lies and step into it. When you begin to cultivate these traits within yourself, something strange will happen. The frantic, desperate, painful nature of the obsession will begin to fade. It will be replaced by a calmer, deeper, more genuine appreciation. You will no longer need to consume them to feel whole. You will be whole on your own. And from that place of wholeness, you can love them for who they actually are, not for the function they perform for your psyche. But there is another layer to this. We must address the fear. Why is this so hard to do? Why do we prefer to stay in the dark? Because integrating your shadow requires the death of who you think you are. If you have built your entire identity on being the nice guy or the good girl, acknowledging that you have a primal, perhaps aggressive, or deeply sexual hunger destroys that identity. It ruins the script you have been reading from for years. It is a form of suicide of the false self. This is why sexual desire often feels like a threat to our stability. It threatens to burn down the house we have built. And Jung says, let it burn. The house was a prison anyway. You cannot become who you are meant to be if you are clinging to who you used to be. The neurotic misery that so many people feel, the low-level anxiety, the boredom, the feeling that life is passing them by, is the result of living a half-life. It is the result of keeping the door to the basement locked. Your desire is banging on that door. Think about the times in your life when you felt the most alive. It was likely when you were in the throes of a deep attraction, when the rules didn't seem to matter, when the world seemed to sharpen in focus. That aliveness is available to you always, but it requires courage. It requires the courage to look at your reflection without flinching. It requires the courage to admit, I am not just the saint. I am also the sinner. I am not just the master. I am also the slave. I am not just the intellectual. I am also the animal. When you accept the animal, you do not become a beast. You become a human, a complete human. Society tries to sanitize sex. It tries to make it purely medical or purely romantic or purely political. But sex is inherently spiritual because it is the only place where the curtain between the conscious and the unconscious is torn open. In the moment of ecstasy, the ego dissolves. The I disappears. For a split second, you are not a doctor or a lawyer or a mother or a failure. You are pure energy. That is why we chase it. We are chasing the relief of ego death. But you cannot live in that moment forever. You must bring the wisdom back with you into the daylight. If you find yourself constantly attracting partners who treat you poorly, look inward. Your desire is showing you that you do not believe you deserve better. The partner is confirming your own hidden self-hatred. If you find yourself attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable, look inward. Your desire is protecting you from the intimacy you claim to want, but are actually terrified of. The pattern will repeat until the lesson is learned. The unconscious is relentless. It will send you the same person in different bodies, over and over again, until you finally stop looking at them and start looking at you. So, the next time you feel that pull, that undeniable magnetic force that seems to defy all logic, do not brush it aside. Do not label it as just hormones, and certainly do not shame yourself for it. Treat it with reverence. Treat it like a message from an old friend who knows you better than you know yourself. Walk into the dark room of your mind. Turn on the light. Look at what is written on the walls. What you find there might shock you. It might offend your sensibilities. It might contradict everything you thought you stood for. But it will be the truth. And as Jung reminded us, only the truth can make you whole. Your sexual desire is not a distraction from your spiritual path. It is the path. It is the mud out of which the lotus blooms. It is the lead that can be transmuted into gold. Stop running from the monster you think you are. Turn around. Embrace it. And watch it transform into the power you have been searching for all along. The person you are waiting for is not out there. The person you are waiting for is the one hidden behind your own shadow. Desire is simply the invitation to finally meet them.